Hello guys, this is my dark spot, and today I have Jake Mason of Alunah as my guest. Hi Jake, and how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Thank you for asking, and thank you for joining me. I'm very grateful for this. And can you tell us something more about the band's history for the people who just want to get into the band? Because the lineup has changed over the years, and I think they would be, grateful to hear more info on that.
Alunah kind of has roots going back to 2006-ish, and a few albums over that period of time. And then this current lineup has been together roughly about 6 years or so. So this is, seen us on Heavy Psych Sounds, do a couple of albums on that label, and really push on from there, really.
Cool, cool, cool. And it's quite interesting to me, to follow the band's progress over the years. When you were starting, it seems like more of a doom sound was kind of stronger, but then the band, of course, started evolving naturally, right? Like you started more experimenting with the sound. And I think in one of your recent interviews, you kind of mentioned that it is kind of a natural process for you. But how does it, how does it look like when you think about that work in the studio? How does it look, for example, you want to create something, something new? Can you describe more, give us more insight, in that jamming in the studio? How does it look like for you?
Well, I'd say in terms of the writing process, it normally starts with, one of us having an idea, I think like Sean, Matt, and they'll come in with it, and we just kind of flesh it out from there in the rehearsal room. Sean will have an idea of a verse, a chorus, maybe a verse and chorus, and it's really a case of working it out from there, how it goes as a song, how we make it flow together, how we adapt things, how we turn it upside down, and just lots of to-in and fro-in, backwards and forwards until we get it sounds, it's exactly how we want it.
Yeah, I bet it's a bit harder, when there is there are many people around. I mean, it's way easier when for example, for one artist, to experiment, but everything else can be, pretty much tricky until you agree, okay, because people can disagree. Okay, no, we're doing something else. It's kind of a bit tricky thing, right?
Yeah, kind of pretty much on the same page for the most part. And more kind of open to each other's ideas as well. So, there's not too much ego involved, really. It's a relatively smooth process. It's just time consuming, trying out different ideas and going all the way down the left-hand path to come back to the right-hand path. And, you get there in the end. It's all part of the fun.
Yeah, of course, naturally. Yeah. And tell me about that initial concept for Strange Machine. I have noticed definitely, then of course, I have to compare the previous releases to the newest. I think, yeah, definitely the lyrics have been changed, right? And of course, that sound changed. The sound evolved definitely. Also, I heard in some songs there are also some interesting instruments. I Sadly, I do not know a lot about the instruments as I'm not a musician. I haven't played anything, so it's kind of tricky for me to recognize. But I do feel there is a really great presence of some folk instruments, even of the newest release. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. So I think it's about 18 months since we recorded it. I know there's a few organ or keyboard sounding organy type
Yeah.
things in one of the tracks, just in the background. Most of it was just background stuff, really. So we had I think there was some acoustic guitar in the back of the track, some spacey effects going on as well, just to bring out, kind of a bit more of a psyche kind of feel in a couple of the tracks. But yeah, I mean, the main instruments of bass, drum, guitar, that's always going to be the prominent thing. But it's nice to have a few touches just to embellish things. And, I know Sean's playing more and more of the flute these days, so I dare say that will pop up in a few places here and there as well.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I
So,
have noticed. And certain songs are definitely very, very emotional. For me, what songs would you pick as the most emotional for you? It doesn't have to be from the new album, but like when you are playing them, maybe get in that emotional mood. And I know it happens to a lot of people, to a lot of my friends from the other bands. Like I'm kind of crying secretly while I'm playing that song on the stage. Do you have those kind of moments that something really strikes you?
only if things are going wrong.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah,
I know. I suppose sitting at the back playing the drums and hitting things, I like, the emotion comes for the songs where it gets heavier and, you can really lay into the track.
yeah.
I dare say that's different for, each member you talk to.
I see, I see. For example, what else I have noticed? Song teaching cardinal sins. I have also read that it's also, I think, chosen as one of the best songs, probably. But I mean, it's really hard to choose because most of the songs are really, really good. Now, it's not like a competition because all of them are great, and that's what makes a great album. Yeah, but that song, I really have noticed interesting variations, in vocals like and when I heard that amazing vocal range, I was totally, it blew me away. It's really rare for me to hear such a great female vocal so strong. And how has it been working with her so far?
Yeah. What we've done now, two albums, an EP.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, in 5 years, it's flown by really. And it's just really how it pushes forward. It's opened up new doors. I mean, she's got a great voice, Sean. As you say, she can really handle anything, really singing wise.
Yeah.
And I know when it came to Strange Machine, she was really conscious of pushing herself even more. I mean, I thought she was great straight away when we heard her, but Strange Machine, she was really adamant on pushing things and taking things up a level.
Yeah, I think she mentioned in one of the interviews that she was really taking initiative for that one. And also speaking of the lyrics, those all those kind of changes, and as really it's a fantastic work because I don't think this album is only for the people who are just specifically into this genre. It's all I told you all the people who like other genres, like it doesn't matter, like rock, grunge, alternative. They also thought that was really great, and I'm glad I recommended that. Honestly, so you will be getting new fans, I think. Yeah, yeah. And can you just lead me through the composing process for this album? And is there some kind of a difference, some things you did differently with the approach in comparison to the other albums? What has changed, if something's changed, of course?
Um, I think predominantly all the albums really have been down to us jamming things out in a room eventually. Uh, I guess composing this album was a little bit more difficult in that it was during the COVID time.
Yeah,
Um, there was only a couple of us jamming in the room while others were working out ideas at home and what have you. So it was kind of a little bit more challenging piecing things together. Uh, but it worked. It was fine. We got there. And also, Strange Machine, it was the first time we've written with Matt as well on guitar. So that automatically brings in a new
yeah.
atmosphere and variation on things. So, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And tell me, I mean, probably you have noticed that as well. That was probably the hardest period, when COVID started for many artists. For example, certain artists I mean, I think, certain artists were talking about how hard it was for them. So they were living just, from selling merch, and but on the other hand, what was the most ironic thing ever is a lot of them made the most amazing albums. Is there something that left a huge influence on you as well?
And I guess for a lot of people, there wasn't a great deal else to do at the time, other than to focus on writing and getting ideas down and what have you. I mean, it was a challenging time for everyone.
Yeah.
I guess it helped really in some respect, as much as it was a challenge, getting together and writing and doing things in that way. It was also a saviour, really, having the band in that when you couldn't do anything else, it gave you something to focus on and something to use, really, to aim to get through the lockdown. So it worked as a positive thing, really.
For example, what can you say about some new other releases, like from some other bands that have been released recently or last year? Is there something that left a big influence on you? And is there something you would like to recommend to the listeners?
So really, kind of lose track about what was released as and when. I know all four of us are always listening to new stuff. Matt does a lot of reviews for web things and what have you online. So Matt will constantly recommend something every week. So yeah, I know he mentioned an album by a band called Wolves in Winter that we played with recently, and they've just released their album. So yeah, he was waxing lyrical about that.
Cool. Tell me, I mean, I can also add something if you agree,
Okay.
because I have been also exploring a lot of things. I just sometimes just Google something and what comes up, And there's some artists, I mean, unbelievable. And a lot of them are actually pretty much underground. Maybe that's what makes them, really great as well. I don't know. Who knows? And there is artist, Kamni. I can, give you a link, to their
Okay.
EP. It blew me away. Like they make some kind of doom stoner psychedelic something. I don't even put it, I cannot and I don't want to put it into one genre, because it almost have some kind of, I don't know, metaphysical experience when you're listening to it. Unbelievable, like even for, I think they also made some album for some kind of meditation. I think you might enjoy it if you like more those psychedelic kind of things. And also there is an artist, Madi from Bulgaria. They are also like, I don't know, including some jazzy, bluesy elements, but but also doom, stoner, alternative, all the mixes. So you can check them out. I think you might like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And also I think you mentioned the Goat Snake, if I'm correct, earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive fan.
Yeah.
Nothing
Monolord.
really,
Yeah.
nothing new recently. It's been a few years, hasn't it? I think, but yeah, Goat Snake should be huge. Well, they are huge, but they should be bigger.
Definitely. Yeah. I still think they're not appreciated enough, honestly.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Sadly, and that's why I also kind of made this channel, to get more people there. Recently, actually, I had interview with band Gaupa. They're from Sweden.
Okay.
You probably heard of it.
Yeah.
Also female vocalist, but exquisite band, like amazing sound. They're really, I like the bands that can really make you travel places, discover. It's not like just about, okay, let's make it experience. It's just about how the band, makes you feel, gets you emotional, or takes you to other alternate places, And is there something, artist or anything, not either, it can be a book, a movie, something you have seen that can take you to different places. Like when you just hear it, you like, it just makes you go away somewhere else.
I suppose the first thing that jumps to mind is Tool. Listening to them, it's always a bit of a journey, really, where those songs take you.
Yeah.
Also, been listening to quite a lot of Killing Joke as well recently. Not exactly new.
Yes, I love them. Yeah.
But so many different sounds, so many different styles that, there's almost an album to suit every mood, really, with them.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I rarely hear that from people, and I really like when taste is matched. So that's really cool. Also, cool. I think the Gun Club was really great. Band, too bad, Jeffrey died. I recently had an interview with Meat Puppets. We were discussing that, and too bad. You can see how they started actually. to be that kind of a noisy blues, funk, whatever. But then later, man, it just turned out to be the most beautiful emotional blues that I've ever heard. If you heard that song, Go Tell the Mountain,
Yeah.
like absolutely blew me away. I mean, I have that kind of weird taste for bands, but all the great underrated bands, I believe. Yeah.
The ones that
Yeah.
stick around as well.
Yeah, yeah. And tell me, what I have noticed about Alunah is how great, how is great that thing that you actually match artwork, lyrics, and music perfectly. Like I have also noticed that with Catatonia, like that kind of match, if you agree. Like
Oh, okay, that's good.
everything is perfectly chosen to be, blended well. And how do you describe that? And who was in charge? I think I'm not sure if I heard you were speaking about that. Maybe I have made a mistake. But who did the art for the previous and on this one?
I know Sean picked the artists, both Violet Hour and Strange Machine, and the names are going to totally escape me now. The guy who did Violet Hour, I think, was South American chap. His name totally escapes me. And it was something that Sean came across online, uh, and he finally designed it for us, and we all had a bit of an input on, what we liked, what we didn't like, etc. And pretty much the same process with Strange Machine. I think Shantan, this guy who does a lot of what's the word, visual illusions kind of thing. She stumbled across him on Instagram, I think. Yeah, and went down that route again, and he designed for us, and turned out great.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. I think people would definitely appreciate hearing that. How hard was that actually to keep it going, to move forward? Because at one point, I think it was pretty much struggling and difficult situation to deal with. So, what was that kind of a motivational factor for you that helped you, just push forward and go for it?
Um, didn't really seem that much of a, well, obviously it's a change, but it's something that we wanted to do. So it didn't really seem a humongous challenge. It probably is a humongous challenge from outside always looking in, changing not just a singer, just any member of the lineup. It's a change in chemistry and uh, just a change in how things work within the dynamic of the band. Um, Ultimately, the rest of us wanted to do the band, so it just came effortlessly, really. You just move on and do the next thing. You just take it one step at a time, and things happen from there. It's all
Yeah.
very natural, that you'd think there'd be more thought put into things than there actually is, really. Things just
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I asked because it's probably hard, to push forward when you're, all by yourself. Sometimes, like, you don't, you think at that point you don't have a choice. Like, even some people probably think of, quitting or whatever, switching to other jobs. It's really hard for people to maintain that kind of balance. How do you stand,
Yeah,
in that?
we've all got day jobs as well, so exactly the
Yeah,
same situation, really.
yeah. How are you managing to achieve all that?
It kind of comes second nature now. We've all been doing it for a while, so we know how to balance things, and it's kind of good as well. And that we're all pretty motivated in that if one member is, having a hard time or is having to focus on something else, there's other people there to pick up the slack as well. So it's not just down on one person to do everything.
Yeah.
Um, that's a big reason, I think, really. There's people there that can help out if another member is busy or having to deal with some other shit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, as you said. And also it's very important, sometimes to have that connection and to talk everything out and, and to have a support because I think often people, just uh, stop being a band when they don't probably communicate enough, there is no support and they just like no motivation, no anything. But yeah, it's good to have a support from the fans and from the band members, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, life gets in the way sometimes, doesn't it? That's just the way it is. But if you want to do something enough, you'll find a way.
Exactly. Yeah. And tell me something about your casual day at the studio and how do you generally like to spend time with each other, like outside the work? Like you have some interesting activities?
To be honest, we don't really see each other that much outside of rehearsals. Other than really going to gigs and stuff, then we'll no doubt be going together. We'll see each other there, what have you. But a couple of people, we don't really live next door to each other anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're kind of dotted around a largely share area. Um, so in that regards, everyone's trying to fit in their day jobs and what have you. So rehearsal and time at the studio is our main being together time.
yeah. So that's mostly when everything happens. Like, you just basically it's like you like chill and you jam at the same time. Like, if I understood, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, rehearsing, writing, stop, talk, rehearsing, writing, stop, talk.
Yeah. Well,
That's the cycle.
it works amazing for you, because I know I have seen some rehearsals and turns out like, okay, fuck this, let's go partying. But you're doing great job, like, definitely. Yeah,
We try and make the most of the time. So.
cool. You have started touring with very, very good bands. And can you share some experiences on the tours? I would pick my favorites. I think it was with The Obsessed and Paradise Lost. And what can you tell about? I really hope to hear more about that experience. And what was the most heartwarming experience for you on any tour you have been so far?
It probably is those two really. So Obsessed, I don't know, about 3, 4 years ago was that one, I think. Yeah, and that was brilliant. I think that was just before Violet Hour came out. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So that was yeah, in the UK. Again, it's just kind of it's surreal really when you do them. Being fans of the band, it's especially I just come across as a fanboy really, and I'm too shy to say anything for the first 2 days of the tour. And that was pretty much the case as well with Paradise Lost. That was just coming out of COVID as well. So those were the first dates pretty much we'd done since COVID.
Yeah, since
Uh,
COVID, yeah. Wait, some of the shows were postponed, right? And
yeah,
then, yeah,
I
yeah,
think did they? I think the first show of the Paradise Lost tour was originally meant to be for Paradise Lost launch party for the last album. So
yeah.
that shows you how much it had been put back. Um, so yeah, it was. I still have to pinch myself really thinking about that. Looking back to it, just a great, great time. Really fortunate to have done it. Yeah, it's just amazing, especially to see Paradise Lost every night as well. It's super.
Cool, cool. I also constantly argue with my friends, about favorite albums from Paradise Lost, and I always be like, okay, I like Symbol of Life and Coast, and people be like, oh my God, like, yeah,
I think they're
there's
great.
there is always that kind of fight. No, no, no. People who like previous, like older albums, and
Yeah,
but I'm always like mostly, what is interesting about most of the artists, a lot of them told me, "Oh my God, what I did on the first album," and I was like, I thought it was pretty much amazing. I'm that person who like first albums, like it's never a mistake. What are your thoughts on that when you just make that comparison? Like, do you also have that kind of a feeling? Oh my God, what we did! But honestly, I did think that was amazing. Your first album, and of course the sound was changed. But what are your thoughts when you remember back then?
yeah. It's true what you say. I mean, when I listen to it now, I just think, oh, um, but it's just the first time you're doing something, and you just naturally get better at it the more you do. It's just the way it is. Plus, like everything, the first time, the first albums were always done on like less of a budget, more rushed, less experience. So there's going to be flaws, I guess. Um, so yeah, but probably. didn't listen to it for a long while afterwards, but it's fun when I listen to it now, to think back. And yeah, it's all
Yeah.
experience, isn't it? And
Yeah, people, think, oh my God, like it's not really my best, because of the natural sound progress over the years, you know. But I think it's pretty much, I don't know, it's different when you're a listener and when you're, in a band, and definitely you will always go for the newest thing, because that's how you progress. You will always pick probably, that the newest one, because it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
right? It's kind of a natural thing.
Plus, as well, I think if you're a band or an artist or whatever,
Yeah.
you've got a vision in your mind of how it's going to sound. So if it doesn't sound exactly the same, then you start questioning things. Whereas if you're a listener, you're only
Yeah.
hearing that for the first time, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where the difference is.
Yeah, yeah, and other tricky thing can be, that sometimes I think fans can also affect, maybe that when you want to make something new, and sometimes you probably you get into that mood, or I'm not sure, like you can comment on that, of course, when you read the reviews, and have you ever started thinking like, okay, should we like do this, try out this or that, like it can be a bit let's say not really healthy atmosphere on the forums, with all those comments. And then you cannot just, remove yourself from that. Like, okay, I have read it, and it just starts popping up in your mind. And how does it affect your feeling when you want to create something new? Do you have a feeling, does it maybe shape your thoughts in a different way?
Uh, Again, I guess it's just down to having done things for a while, really. Like you say, if you was to read comments after your first release, then
Yeah.
I guess, it start to play on your mind, and so you start thinking, oh, we should do things differently. We should do this. We should do that. Blah blah blah. But to be honest, you just end up chasing your tail. You'll never please everyone all the time, so why even try? Just do
Yeah.
what makes you happy, whatever you want to do. That's all we care about,
Exactly.
really. Which kind of sounds arrogant, and it's really not meant to. But if you try to please everyone, it just won't work. So,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I also said in one of my previous interviews. Like, while trying to please people and everything, like we occasionally do that with our friends, even with our family, and you lost yourself totally in that. And you, of course, and it totally affects your mental health and everything else. And definitely, if you go for a thing you like, it doesn't matter. Like, you stay true to yourself, and that's the most important thing to do. Some of the people can. Definitely be, let's say, hurt, but what they read and everything, it can be hurtful, and that's really hard to resist the urge not to think about that, you know. So what are your thoughts, like, on the social media effect, you mean, did you have any negative experiences with that, and what are your thoughts on that? There are definitely good and bad sides to it, but what is your feeling about all that?
yeah, I mean, you can be negative, and then you can just sound like an old man moaning about the internet, really. So, um,
Yeah.
like you say, it opens up so many doors, social media, that you can't be overly critical. The unfortunate thing is everyone does have an opinion, and everyone likes to be heard now more than ever.
Yeah.
Um, you just got to take things with a pinch of salt, really, and just for every one review that says you're the best thing since sliced bread, and every bad review, the truth is somewhere in the middle of those two opinions, and it's just not to allow yourself to get too carried away one way or the other. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Definitely, we should create some kind of, let's say, safe space, to say at least, to try, like, not to take things personally, because a lot of things are not actually personal. That's just how people reflect, their anger on everything and everything else onto others, I believe.
Yeah, and just having the ability to say the first thing that comes into your head isn't necessarily a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Okay. And tell me, have you ever thought of, visiting some interesting festivals? I have read about a lot of upcoming festivals. I'm probably planning to visit Rockstad in Romania. I'm hoping to see Sleep Token. I'm pretty much amazed. I'm not sure if you probably listen to them. What are your thoughts on them? And generally about the festival, do you have anything planned already?
Sleep Token, did they play Bloodstock last year?
They play,
Oh,
yeah, they play at that festival. Not sure about other performances, but because I was researching about that festival, so I saw them playing, and I was like, okay, like why not? Let's try and see them. Have you ever seen them? And do you have plans to visit some of the festivals, maybe?
we've been, well, I think all of us in the band have been to Bloodstock quite a few times. I've never seen Sleep Token myself. But in terms of festival plans for Luna, I know we've got a couple coming up. We've got one that hasn't been announced yet uh, in Europe. We're playing a festival called Call of the Wild over here in the UK. So yeah, that'd be cool. And then as a punter, we're going to Bloodstock again this year, no doubt.
Cool, cool, cool,
That's kind
cool.
of like a regular fixture, isn't it?
Okay, okay. And is there some band you would also like to see, like something that really, you got into lately?
Uh, well, I don't know about got into lately, but I did see that I Am Morbid are touring, and they seem to be doing every uh, or quite a lot of festivals in Europe. So it'd be nice if they was at Bloodstock, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen from the schedule.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see them.
Okay, okay. And tell me something about the future plans for the band. We started working on something already, and we don't know. You don't have to reveal anything. I mean, too much. I like a good surprise, and people can be pretty much anxious, waiting for something. I believe,
Cool. So we've got a couple of cover versions coming out this year. The one is on a Budgie tribute album, but I don't think it's been announced yet what track we're doing. So I think that's coming up in the next few weeks.
Okay.
No, our version of I'm 18 that came out a couple of years ago. That's been remastered, so that's coming out as a single later in the year as well. Uh, and then we've got a fair few ideas that we've started working on. So whether that's going to be the next album or another EP, we're not sure yet. Um, but yeah, there's quite a few things in the pipeline and being worked on. So.
Oh, okay. So you already have plans. That's cool to hear, definitely. Yeah. And tell me something else for the end. Are you open to collaborations? I mean, not only from the, like famous artists, but both from, let's say, underground bands and other people who would like to do something with you. What is the best way for people to reach you out? I mean, in case you're open to it.
Well, certainly from artists and artwork point of view, definitely always looking for different ways to present the next release. So yeah, I know Facebook and Instagram, that's always monitored. So that's the best way to get in touch with us.
Yes, cool, cool. I think people would appreciate that definitely because, also when I started doing the interviews, I interviewed Stefan from Soliloquium. Also, we are going to do podcasts. Hopefully, I
Okay,
mean, yeah, we're going to start with Catatonia. So I just
cool.
also wanted to say if you are willing to join.
That'll be fun.
Okay, cool. And any plans for later? How are you going to spend your day?
So obviously now, I think I'm going to go and watch the football in a minute.
Cool.
Yeah, Champions League tonight. So
I won't take more of your time, but I'm very grateful and hope to talk to you soon, of course.
I hope so, Sean. And thank you for your time.
Thank you too.